All right, guys, welcome back. It's been a while, so let's get straight into it. Today, I've got a story from a long-term client of mine, um, and he didn't title the story, but I have decided to give it a name. The topic of today's email is going to be the 10-year drought, also known as 10 years with no access to the box. All right, so this guy is actually a good friend of mine. He's been training with me for 4 years, coming up to 5 years now. And in that time, he's made a massive improvement in his life. He started at a body weight of 64 kilos, something like that, which is just above 130 pounds, something like that for you Americans. And now, after 4 years of intense training, he is now sitting at approximately 80 kilos body weight. So he's come a very long way from when he started. And this guy works in construction. So he has to be on the job site by 7 a.m. Ready to go, which means he usually gyms at about 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And as you can imagine, that takes discipline, that takes commitment. It shows you that not only is he physically strong, he is mentally strong as well. And this is something that our modern day society struggles with. We attach these negative connotations to people that are doing well, that are trying to improve themselves. You know, we have this whole concept of toxic self-love where we say, oh, she's not fat, or, you know, he's not fat, they're not obese, they're just plus sized. No, you're just a fat fuck. You're just a lazy, fat piece of shit who does not love themselves. Because if you actually fucking loved yourself, if you actually loved your body, you would take the time out of your day. You would take, 30, 40 minutes out of your day every day, or an hour out every 2 days, whatever that may be. And you would get into the gym, or, you'd go for a swim, or you go for a run, whatever gets you up, and you'd get it done. Because if you actually loved yourself, you would want yourself to be the very best. If you actually cared about yourself, you would not let yourself become morbidly obese. You wouldn't let yourself get to the stage where you're at risk of a heart attack in the next 2 years, while in your 30s, while you're still in your way, when you haven't even reached middle age yet. People are dropping like flies these days because of toxic self-love, because they don't love themselves. They're trying to tell other people that they should be loved. So it's like, I don't love myself, but I want you to tell me that I deserve love. What a fucking pathetic thought process. Anyway, that was a little segue, but we're gonna get into it properly now. So this guy was actually very successful with women back in the day. So I know a lot of guys, these days, especially in the advent of the social media age, the younger generation, Gen Z, Gen Alphas, they actually have no fucking idea how to communicate with people face to face. Because with an electronic device, you can take your time to reply, especially when it's a text or whatever. Obviously, on a phone call, you have to be a lot quicker with your words. But when you're texting someone, you can take hours to reply. You can take days to reply. You can take days to come up with your response. It's a very delayed form of communication. There's no body language going on. There's no tonality. It's just one of the worst ways to communicate. And the younger generations, they grow up only knowing electronic communication. They don't know how to communicate with people face to face. And day. It's just a big struggle for them. This guy was not like that. He's 28 now. So, when he was growing up, obviously there was Facebook. Instagram wasn't a thing. Smartphones were just coming in. It was a different kind of time back then. People still had to interact with people face to face back in the days compared to now. And so he's not like the typical guy, the modern day incel where they have no skills, they've had no confidence, they've had no pussy, they've had nothing. They've never been able to go up to a girl, interact with them, get their number, seduce them, go on a date, sleep with them. He had no qualms doing that back in the past when he was younger. So, as he says here, he says he was very successful with women when he was younger. He says, I lost my virginity at the age of 14, and I had numerous lovers until the age of 18. I had a long-term girlfriend when I was 16, and we were together until we were 18. Looking back now, I realized that I had stopped courting her and dating her properly. I had become complacent, and I was thinking about our future together, getting married, having children, what our children would look like, etc. So basically, he went goo goo gaga. He was like, okay, this is it. She's the one for me. I'm in love. She's in love. We're in love. Happy together. But unfortunately, as you'll come to see, that is not the case. Because women don't like it when they are set in stone. When they believe that they are above approach, where they're above reproach, where they believe that no matter what they do to you, no matter what they say to you, you'll just take it, and because you love them too much, you care too much, you just put up with them. Ironically, that's not what they actually want. And that shows them that you are more invested into your future together than they are into you. And it is human nature in general, but especially for women. Women don't like it when you like them more than they like you, or so they think. So even if your attraction level for each other is mutual, it's always best to go one step slower than she is. Why bring up, he doesn't mention it here, whether he brought up marriage, blah, blah, blah. But I have a feeling that even if he didn't, he most likely did, but even if he didn't, he probably was giving off signs that he was thinking about that. And there are several problems with this line of thought. I've already mentioned that obviously you made it too secure for her. You made herself too sure of herself. So, and the second thing that you're forgetting is that she was literally hitting her prime. And in Australia, we say LGs. That just simply stands for little girls. Usually applies to girls that are between the ages of 16 and 23, 24, Basically very late teens until early mid-20s. Those girls are considered LGs. In America or across internationally, another common term for LGs is ABG, Asian baby girl. The stereotypical, they go to raves, they love partying, MDMA, cocaine, that lifestyle, and they love, putting on heavy makeup, fake eyelashes, the type. If you know, you know. But anyway, she was an LG, literally entering a prime. So 18 years old, that's literally when they're the most valuable in the sexual marketplace. And you can say what you want, oh, you're misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. Facts are facts. You can look up any statistic you want when it comes to dating in general, but especially online dating. There's a sharp drop off in the amount of interest that men show a woman when the woman reaches 25 and above years old. So basically, the sharp decline starts at 25 plus in terms of the amount of interest that they get from their profiles. But realistically, the drop off starts at 21, which seems a bit ridiculous, but it just shows you guys want what they want, and nothing that people say will really change that. Although obviously, this day and age, excuse me, in this day and age, there's a lot of people that are brainwashed to say the opposite. You know, they say, "Oh, women are much better when they're older, they're more experienced, they know what they want." That may be true, but it doesn't change the fact that women's sexual marketplace value starts up here. A man's starts down here. Now, if you have great genetics, you know, let's just say you're tall, you're 6'4", whatever, you're gonna get a heads up. Does that make sense? If you have chiseled, if you have a chiseled jawline, your points will go up. Makes sense, right? If you're confident, points go up, etc., etc. Genetics, physical characteristics are one thing, but these skills, like social skills, confidence, riz, as you young people say these days, charisma, communication skills, social skills, confidence, these are all things that come with time. These are all things that come with time, experience, and effort. You can't just, unlike with the chiseled jawline or your height or the way that your muscle insertions are on your body, you cannot change these things, but you can always improve your social skills, your communication skills, your confidence, etc., etc. And basically what that long diatribe was meant to say, that long segue is saying is, when you were together, you were down here and she was up here. And not just that, you made it so obvious to her that you were more invested into her and your future together than she was into you and your future together. And as you say yourself, predictably, she broke up with me. And although I have dated several women afterwards, including her younger sister briefly, I have not seduced a woman in over 10 years. Well, naughty. You briefly were dating her younger sister afterwards. That's a story the story of a lifetime. You can tell all your friends about that. Anyway. So it's been 10 years, he says, since he's last seduced a woman. And he says, there were several women that I had true interest in over the last 10 years, but they ended up saying no when I asked them out. And he gives an example here. He met this girl at a church. So anyway, I'll get into it. So he says, I met a girl at church and she ticked all the boxes for me. Sweet, kind, cheerful, and bubbly. After getting to know her over a few weeks, I asked her out. She giggled, but suggested that I speak to our church group leader in order to get the blessing of the church. I was surprised by her suggestion, and I said no. I am not going to ask him for permission. I am asking you out. I want your answer. So she didn't give him a definite answer. And as he says, she did not give me a definite yes. So I thought that was that. Afterwards, whenever I saw her at church, I would smile, wave, and have a quick chat with her whenever she would come up to interact with me. Several months later, on my birthday, she gave me a card that she had written, wishing me a happy birthday. Why would she give me that card if she was not interested in me? She was definitely interested in you, at that time at least. And he continues, I thanked her and she said that she was glad to have met me. We were talking, flirting, and joking around, and the chemistry was undeniable. Looking back now, I should have asked her out then and there. But the fact that she had not given me a definite answer when I asked her at the first time stopped me. So before we go on, you are definitely right. Look, a romantic relationship, or dating, is between two adults, and it should not involve the blessing of the church or whatever. So my opinion on this is that she is either a very structured and insecure woman, so she is afraid of the consequences of what would happen at the church if you start dating. She's worried about what other people might think of her. So she wants to do it the correct way in her mind, which is to get the blessing from the church leader. But that being said, if she liked you enough, do you honestly think that she would have mentioned that? Maybe she would have. Maybe she is that structured and that insecure that she needs a third party to tell her that it's a good idea, that it's gonna work. But from my perspective, it just sounds like to me that the interest was marginal, and it probably peaked on your birthday when she gave you the card. That was the peak of her attraction, because obviously that is a clear sign that she was at least a little bit interested in you, fairly interested in you. I would put her attraction level to you on a 6 out of 10, because if she didn't give a shit about you, if she had no romantic interest in you whatsoever, she would never have handwritten that card and delivered it to you. But as you said, you've already asked her out earlier, so why would you ask again? And he says, thanks to your teachings, I have attempted to refine my game. I have started approaching women in public in order to improve my confidence and skills. I still struggle with my inner bitch boy from time to time. He says, my primary fear is that I am not good enough. Everyone has their fear, their primary fear, whether that is fear that they're not good enough, fear that they won't be loved, fear that no one likes them, fear that they won't fit in. These are the primary fears that we all struggle with. But you have to come to that understanding that your fear is going to do nothing but hold you back. It is a self-limiting belief, and you have to let go of it. You have to get to the place where you believe that not just that you're good enough. You believe that you are the best that these women can ever do. And you need to truly believe that. You need to interact with everyone that you come across with in that way, whether that's romantic or not. So this is a concept that a lot of people struggle with. But when it comes to my business, when it comes to my personal training clients, if someone doesn't give me a definite answer or an appointment, I don't chase them up. If someone doesn't show up to the appointment, especially if it's a first session that they booked in, I don't go chasing them up and going, oh, hey man, you didn't show up today. How about blah 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 next week? How about reschedule? So no, you're a fucking adult. This is not a daycare system. If you are not able to keep your word and keep an appointment on time, I'm not gonna waste my time with you. I'm not gonna chase you. And you have to treat dating in that exact same way. If you ask a girl out, for example, on a date, and she agrees, you set a time and a place, and she agrees, and then she just doesn't show up. Why the fuck would you contact her and be like, oh, sorry, you must have been busy today. How about next week? No, you get fucked. You delete that number and move on with your life. And this is the concept that you have to embrace. It's called self-respect. You have to have some self-respect. Everyone needs to have self-respect. Because if you do not respect yourself, no one else is going to fucking respect you. Just like how if you do not love yourself, no one else is going to fucking love you. It's that simple. Why would anyone want to be around you and respect you and love you if you don't do that for yourself? If you live your life telling yourself that you're a piece of shit, that you're a loser, that you're a fucking wizard, you're a virgin, you haven't had sex, blah, blah, blah. It's like other people can sense that, you know. You give off that subtle hint of desperation. But here we go. He says, on Friday, I met a beautiful girl and I asked her out. I said to her, you are quite pretty. I would love to take you on a date sometime. Why don't you pass me your number? Then I passed my phone to her. She took my phone, put her number in, saved herself on my phone, then called herself with my phone to get my number. I would say, good job. That's a very strong sign that she has a high level of attraction for you. I would put that attraction for you towards you at on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say currently it's about a 7, which is very high considering that you've only met her once and you had a short interaction with her. The one thing that I would tweak with your approach is get rid of the adjective quite. It's like, you are quite pretty. What does that mean? Like, quite pretty? Why not just say you are pretty? Or if pretty is not a strong enough of a word or of an adjective, why don't you go, you're beautiful, you're stunning, you're gorgeous, you know? You're absolutely stunning, you know? Something like that, you know, rather than you're quite pretty. It's a lukewarm kind of approach. But everything else you did beautifully. And I wonder who you learned that from. Sounds very familiar, your approach. Anyway, he continues, I will call her on Monday in order to set up a date. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I can feel my luck changing. Even if the date with this girl does not go well, I am confident that I will find someone suitable for me, as long as I keep working on myself and my skills. Thank you, and I hope to send you a success story very soon. Take care. Well, thanks for that story. I know you're working on yourself. You're a busy guy, but you know, you're doing your best for the time being. But there are many things that you need to work on, and the main thing that I want you to focus on is obviously the date that you're trying to set up right now. I just want you to just chill. And I know, like, it's been a long time since you've had access to the promised land, but don't be too thirsty. Girls are good at sensing desperation and thirst, and obviously don't mention the fact that you have not seduced a girl in 10 years. That would not be a good way to go. Just relax, have fun with her, and I know it's going to be difficult, but conduct yourself in a way where you're calm, you're confident, you're chill, you know? Don't try too hard, and obviously go for the kiss close on the first date. That being said, unless she's giving you clear signs of wanting to be seduced that night, I personally would take it a little bit slower than she is willing to go. Take measured steps. Most women in Western countries, at least, will sleep with you by the second or third date. So don't be like a horny teenager trying to get laid on the first date just because you haven't had some in 10 years. I think as long as you take slow, measured steps, you relax, just focus on the present. Just have a good time with it instead of thinking about, oh, how am I going to convert this later in order to sleep with her? Because they can sense that. Just relax, have a good time. And I look forward to hearing from you about how glorious it is to finally get access to Punani after 10 years of drought. All right, guys, take it easy. Until next time. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer, send them through to daniel@steelministry.com.au, and I will talk to you soon.